Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Hermitcraft. We're starting this episode flying through the Nether above the roof to a farm that is always a pleasure to approach because it is so massive. It is our gas farm. This one will of course be in recent memory, as it was not so long ago that we constructed this behemoth of a farm. Look at it. Absolutely ridiculous. And I realised that I was supposed to AFK over here to get some gas tiers for the project we're going to do in today's episode, but I completely forgot, and I do not know what kind of state I left this farm in. Did I AFK it? Did I take all of the gas tiers out from the other side? Let's hop through the portal and find out. Oh, okay, two full double chests. Oh my goodness me. Thought it might have been full to the top then. Well, that's absolutely fantastic. I must have AFK'd this thing a fair bit then. You know what it was? It was killing all those striders in the Nether. That probably made the big difference. But anyway, taking a little trip back to this farm has reminded me that there's lots of cool projects that we do, and it's good to go and see them from time to time. So in the comments down below, let me know what favourite project of yours you've seen me do this season you'd like to see me go back and visit. In the next episode, we'll go visit an old project just to, show you that it's still there, basically. I doubt anything would have changed. So anyway, with these gas tiers, we're going to do something really interesting later on in the episode. We're going to be opening up a shop, but it's not a shop that sells gas tiers, but they will be an important part of what we're going to do over there. But now though, at the beginning of this episode, I want to go find some rabbits, of all things. That's right, rabbit wrangling is on the agenda, of all things. But of course it's for the potion project off in the desert there, that we need rabbit's foots to brew potions. Also had some suggestions to put a strider face and a turtle face on either of these towers at the entrance, and with the bee in the middle, that kind of creates that synergy of the last three main skins that I've had for my Doom Guy avatar. So great suggestions, totally going to be looking into that real soon. Right now though, we're flying over to Corralis's barn. This place is a pleasure to visit because it's just so wonderfully decorated. And when I was last here with Corralis, he literally said, "Dude, can you take the carrots away? There's too many in this system, I don't need them." And now we have a use for carrots, so we're going to clear this out for him. As you have probably sussed out, the carrots are simply for breeding the rabbits. The thing is, I don't really know where to get started with this project. We're going to breed so many of them because we need a redonkulous amount of rabbit's foots, and they're kind of rare to get. Yeah, got to scratch my noggin and decide what to do here. So I guess I should let you know right now that I have made up my mind. We're basically going to make a pit of rabbits, breed them like crazy, slaughter them all, and then see how many rabbit's feet we get from it, right? However, here's the thing. I've been toying with two farm design ideas. One would be a breeding setup where you separate the babies from the adults and you can AFK breed. And the other one would be a passive mob farm out here in the desert. Now, rabbits are kind of unique here in the desert that they can spawn on sand blocks. And here on Hermitcraft, we kind of have a unique situation where a lot of the hermits have gone round and actually removed all of the sand. However, there would be still quite some work to ensure that you have a proper perimeter set up. You'd have to remove all of the grass, make sure that there weren't any passive mobs in the spawn chunks of this world, and then somewhere out here we could possibly actually make a rabbit farm. But coming over here and just seeing how many odd spots of sand there are all over the place, if you're paying attention here, all these flat surfaces have lots of sand, so it would indeed be a heck of a lot of work to make a passive mob farm. And look at it, right here as I land, there's a rabbit. These things are going to be easy to find out here. That's the other thing that I wanted to mention. Okay, so we've done a lot of this lately. Going into creative worlds, we're going to do a crude test before I do anything on Hermitcraft. I'm very curious, and I've picked this location over here because there is a lot of ocean, which means not a lot of work to do. And then there is nothing but the desert biome as far as I can see. Now, I've made a huge selection that might just crash the world. We're going to replace all of the sand with stone. Let's see what happens. Wow! I am actually really surprised. It did a good job. My selection is clearly not tall enough, though. And look, all the bunnies have sort of popped out of here. This was another thing I was going to mention. Because there is sand everywhere in this biome, it means that there's lots of opportunities for rabbits to spawn, which why it makes this place a great place to come and grab some of those rabbits. So down here at the bottom of the world, I placed some sand, and remember the reason we build them down here is because if there are no blocks above them, the spawn rates will be faster. So that is an extremely crude way to test a proof of concept. The problem is we've still got rabbits in the area. So because I am in a creative world, I can use a command like this, and remember I'm trying to teach you some of the things that I know so you can take these ideas and use them to create your own farms. So now all of the rabbits are gone, and no surprise there's nothing spawning down here because they share that mob cap with other passive animals. So another trick here is to simply kill everything that is not the player, and you should also be very careful when you choose to use a command like this, as it can absolutely ruin your world. However, this is just a testing world. So now in this area, in theory, nothing else is going to spawn because it's all covered in stone, right? And the place that they will spawn would be down there, but we're not getting anything. Okay, it took me a moment to realize my own stupidity. This chunk is more in an ocean than it is in a desert, so moving it in a little bit, immediately we got like 4 mobs spawning, but that might be the most that you can get at once, so then you would have to kill them really quickly. Anyway, there is potential to do an AFK passive mob farm of this kind, but I think I'm going to pass on this opportunity just because the work up top to remove all of the sand will probably actually be a bit of a nightmare. But who knows, later on in the season that might be a fun project. I've certainly never built a farm like that myself before, and I don't think I've ever really seen one like that anywhere else. So anyway, it is rabbit wrangling time, and what I'm going to do is wander around this area with a carrot in my hand to bring the rabbits close, and a plentiful amount of leads. Do I see one off in the distance? I do. Okay, let's head in that direction. By the way, rabbits take full damage. This one up here might be foolish enough to show us. I had one more than we currently got, and it died just a moment ago. Yep. Oh, just like that. So I got to be super careful with these. So I have set up a pit for these rabbits and started breeding them. I figured I would continue the search after I've got them in a pen, and I found one more. But of course, these things take full damage, so we're going to use some water here and hopefully bring it in safely. Oh, how'd you get out? How did you get out? Did you swim up the water? These things are such a menace. They get out of the pens because they can jump around, right? There we go. There we go. Excellent. Okay, now both of these are in. So, although deserts are a great place to find rabbits, this desert has been decimated by the hermits. And that probably means killing a bunch of rabbits as well. They can also jump and take full damage, so they can die in their naturally spawning environment. I've been searching the area just around here and haven't found any more. So I think now what we're going to do is knock this on the head while I'm making today's episode, while I'm playing on the server. I'm going to be coming over here, AFKing, breeding their numbers up, and then by the end of the episode, hopefully we can have a crazy amount here and see how many rabbit's feet we get from them. So then, before I reveal the project using the ghast tears, I have some errands to run. And the first one is just kind of bringing you up to speed on this little project over here. As you can see, we've got a stadium here. It's a little bit bare bones, but I wanted to keep it that way until other hermits started building in this area. We plan on linking all of the mini games together with paths and whatnot. So I've started off really quite basic and simple, and I think as time goes on, we may expand this thing and make it look a little more interesting. But we had some fantastic suggestions during a live stream to change the colours of the team to purple and green to represent the grass and the mycelium. Even over here, we've swapped out the shulker boxes as well. If I press that quick enough, we might get purple next. Yep, there we go. There's a way to cheat it. And so yeah, we added a stand, we added some beds, and a poison dispensing system. I was going to make a joke about how I poisoned myself, but apparently it didn't work. Let's try that again, shall we? This time we're going to go up, then we're going to go down. What's going on with the poison? Why is it not working? Okay, so below this, I can hear it. I can hear it's like, what? Okay then. Right, that should really hit me. It has done now, but you can see we've got a bit of a problem here. Okay then, what about now? Yeah, okay, it probably hits a wall, but then sort of hits me. Anyway, I designed this thing so that we wouldn't have a gap like this at the edge of our beautiful build, but, well, it's going to have to go there now. So yes, I had a suggestion to do as Etho did once again. This time, take them up, the player, drop them down so they take full damage, and then bring them down to half a heart with the poison potion. Now I'm stepping back from this thing and I'm thinking it looks a little bit of an eyesore. Now where we've used this block everywhere, as other hermits decorate in this area, I plan on making it look nicer step by step and integrating it, but this is just too much and there's an easier way to do this. So the eyesores are gone. Around the back here we have an access point to get down to the bottom and restock this thing with poison potions. And then here at the front we got the water stream, which you can't go down. That's the way that you come up. And a reminder to have full health before you drop down, as you're going to take full damage. Obviously I've got feather falling on my armor. And then by the time you made your way out here, in theory, the players are going to have, 0 health. I mean, half a heart, because of the poison. Oh, this is so derpy. So, we can now move on and turn our attention back to another project that we actually did last episode, the kelp farm. I made a minor modification down here, which I think makes the whole thing look a little better. It is simply these kelp blocks right here. They used to be glass blocks, and now the whole thing looks a lot better. I've got to make one minor modification here, and that is to actually move this chest forward so that we can have the kelp block come all the way down. And now that we can do that, this room is just looking a lot nicer. But I also want to make a modification to the redstone that goes behind this contraption. So if ever I want to turn this farm off, I want to have a button to be able to do that. There it is right there. You see, this thing is in the heart of our base and it fires a whole group of pistons at once. So in the future, when I decide I don't really need more kelp, then we're going to have this button to disable the farm. Now what it's going to do is power a piston, and that has got an observer attached to it. This will create a pulse going into that piston when it moves forward, but not when it comes backwards. And that happens when we press the button. So it goes out, and then it comes backwards again. But it only powers this piston once, and it does it with a 1-tick delay, so that it'll either power this redstone or leave it in this current state. So we press the button again, and you can see it just leaves it over there. Now when it's powered like it is at the moment, that actually means that we're not turning off the farms, because these torches here aren't powering the redstone below. And it's a little bit of a shame that it had to be this way, because in order to disable the farm, it means the pistons will be extended. It would have been nice if we could have disabled it and let the kelp still grow, so when you turn it back on again, there's some kelp to be harvested. So yeah, the wiring here simply goes round in a big square, and every now and then there's a redstone torch, and as you can see, it just connects to the redstone that the observers power. And so when the whole thing is turned off, this is what the farm will look like down here. I can just press the button to change that though. And once again, we're continuing with something else from last episode. The brewery over here was really well received. A lot of you just love this combination of blocks, which was great to see because I love it too. And over here, Corrales has left me a gift. You see, I asked if I could get some carrots from him, like we did earlier in the episode. I also asked if I could get some kelp as well, but there was a little bit of confusion, and he dropped me off this over here, and these are golden carrots as well. We might just give them back to Corrales for him to use, though, because we're all stocked up on carrots over here. Although, isn't it rude to return a gift? I don't know. Maybe we'll keep them. But anyway, what I want to do over here, first of all, is just start off by putting in the next bunch of pillars, like so, going across. Then we're going to bring these back by 3 blocks, so they will have the same depth as all of these pillars have. And then somewhere around here, we're going to put our wall. And as you can see, it doesn't actually go too close to the brewer. Oh, and before we start that, I also ripped out the wall that was protecting the brewer, and I have put torches all the way around here. Although I was thinking, the roof up here isn't spawn-proof. Mobs can just spawn on here and fall down into the area, and the same goes with the wall around the edge, so I'm going to have to keep an eye on that. We really do want to make this thing mob safe. Well, my friends, things are coming together extremely well here. The vibe in this place is wonderful. Now that we've got a back wall in, there's no sunlight coming into this area, and the moody lighting is brilliant. You might have remembered me talking about these lanterns being hung in the middle of these corridors here. Well, I've done that, but it's just between these pillars, so you don't really see them when you're coming through the middle, but you get a sense of that moody lighting, and everything here is just big and powerful, So then we have this staircase, and I'm not sure if I want to keep the same build palette or introduce something different here, but this is going to be a corridor to grab your potions from. We also got to include a nether portal and somewhere like another staircase that goes down to this area. So I'm doing some remodeling here, and immediately I feel like we need to introduce some new textures, right? I've also ripped out some redstone in the process because we don't really need a lamp to tell you if there's shulker boxes inside. All you got to do is open it up. And around the back here I added a lamp, and when this lamp turns on it will mean that there are no more shulkers in the system. So this is like a maintenance reminder for me to stock those things up. I also changed the position of this chest because I was trying to add in a bit of extra redstone. If ever we have too many shulker boxes in the system, it's possible that this could be filled up and shulker boxes could be just sitting on top of the hopper and despawning, which we wouldn't want. Now the thing is, it would be a real pain to take the redstone signal from that and make it work with the redstone up above. I think the simpler thing to do sometimes is just don't put too many shulker boxes in the system. I think my energy for building this episode is starting to be somewhat drained. However, I'm kind of seeing where this goes for the most part. Now I've fallen into a hole. And that is precisely what happens when you try and do a little bit of building while you're talking as well. A lot of the time I just sort of walk through my thoughts on what's going on. It's hard to do that at the same time as you're building, because otherwise you fall into a hole. Anyways, this is all going to be dark eventually, and it will be lit by the glowstone that's underneath these carpets. And what we're going to do is essentially extend these pillars downwards, and like even back there as well. I think we're going to make it so this is quite a deep area, and the floor is going to be built out of blackstone, but these are at the slab level, so nothing can spawn in here, and then it's going to create that deep and dark mysterious feel again like we got up top. But I've also got to figure out a roof design here. That's also going to be a massive grind to put together. And right now I kind of just want to go and shift gears and focus on the project that I have been teasing that involves the ghast tears. So recently I have been gathering up a lot of sand. When I say a lot, a rather large amount. I've also been in the end dimension, AFK, mining obsidian. Got tons of this. And then of course we have the ghast tears, and the question is, what can these three things make together? The answer is of course the end crystal. And I had spent a lot of time goofing around with this, thinking of ideas, places I could use it for decoration. It can of course be exploded, and I figured maybe the best thing to do is to find out what the other hermits could use it for, and so therefore setting up a shop would be a cool idea. Now one of the things that you do with this is you push it with the piston block to kind of align it with other blocks. You can actually push glass blocks inside of this. I think the last time I messed around with this in an episode of Hermitcraft might have been season 4. Now once you've done that, you can see we can place blocks around on this side, but unfortunately you can't actually place them on the opposite side. You can place them a block further back though. And with some patient piston pushing, you can eventually get the end crystal inside like this. Problem is you can still very easily explode it. And so now our end crystal is somewhat protected. The idea that I've got now is, what if we were to make a glass shop and put end crystals in the walls? That would certainly be something of interest. The only issue is like figuring out the best way to build this thing, as you're going to have to use a lot of pistons to push the blocks. From a little bit of experimenting, it's actually easier to sort of push the crystal like this. You go across in one direction, place all the blocks, then go around to the other side, and then you're able to place them again, meaning you don't have to push a large amount of blocks around. The downside though, and I've made a mistake here, is that you end up with this sort of window inside, but I actually think that looks pretty cool. So using these glass blocks, I tried stacking lots of cube shapes on top of one another, trying to create an interesting structure for this area, and unfortunately it just didn't work out. So I had to start thinking outside of the box, and I learned that you can push these end crystals and stack them into a single space together, which looks really interesting. But then I started to think about how we can make that into a spectacle, and so we're going to make a vertical tower of end crystals. Oh my goodness me. I thought this was the recipe? That's the recipe for a beacon, right? Oh, I'm such a wally. So essentially I farmed 3 boxes of obsidian, and all I needed was 1. I still have blaze rods I can steal, right? Yeah, what's in here? Ah, oh, thank goodness. I'll pinch one of those. And a quick trip to the end dimension. You know what? Before I start attacking them, let's take all the pearls that are already here. I didn't kill a single enderman. And I got myself an enderman head. And I respawned at the game behind me, which is a win. Just a quick journey to get back over here. And now we have a stack of end crystals. There we go. So I can't really remember where I was with my story here. But one of the reasons that I built this up the way that I have is because I was thinking about what could go wrong. And possibly a drowned would spawn out here and then try to shoot me with its trident. So this thing needs to be protected from the start. But what's cool about this is you can actually place this thing with blocks all around it. And when I was originally doing this in a redstone world, I came up with like this crazy contraption to push lots and lots of pistons to get it into place. Now it's as simple as something like that. But here comes the magic, okay? What we're going to do is push this thing all the way up to the top. So in this barrel, I have 12 full blocks, which is the push limit, and then a half slab. So we're going to put 24 of these things inside of this space. If I push it up, it goes up a whole block. And to demonstrate, I'll push it up half a block, just like that. And now what we're going to do, I guess, is make life a little difficult for myself. Oh, no, it's fine, it's fine. Yeah. So the push limit of the piston is 12 blocks, plus I think there's a little extra space, right? Because it leaves a block behind it. So yeah, we're going to send this thing all the way to the top. Okay, here goes the last one. Yeah, and that's as high up as it goes. And you can see here that I gave myself a lot of lee room in case I got any calculations wrong. Although I can't put it right there. Ah! Should have put the roof in first maybe. So later on, we got to push these down a block. Okay, and now I got to be super careful and remove all of the blocks. And that is how we're going to create a wonderful spectacle here on the server. We're going to have 24 of them squeezed into one space. But what's important is that I put one of these blocks back here each time. So now I'm doing 11 and a half. And then after that, I'll do 11. And then I'll put one of these away again. So it's quite the spectacle, but I'm not sure it's as much of a marvel as I wanted it to be. And what we could do is actually put a water bucket in at the top, explode everything without breaking any rocks, and try something different. So let me know if you like this or if you think we should change it. I think it might actually be better just to stack a bunch of them on a single spot. So maybe we could create like a pedestal in this area, a mini pyramid shape that you walk up to, and then you have like loads of these stacked together. Now, as for accuracy, unfortunately, up the top there, I kind of goofed somewhere, and I'm not sure where, but I pushed a couple too close together on a couple of occasions. But then I got into the rhythm of it, and everything else down below is perfectly spaced out. And according to how many I got left, I think we actually put 26 in there. Not sure how that happened, but again, you know, I goofed up the top. Anyway, that is a remarkable sight right there. So I've been thinking about the price, and you know what, it's the glass that's making this quite expensive. It's a bit of a pain to craft, but I think we're going to go with 8 for 1 diamond, and I also think this isn't something you need in mass quantities at any time, so that's probably a really great price for all of the other hermits to come and pick some of these up. So I also want to show you this little contraption. Right, this was one of my more advanced mechanisms for stacking these things together. So what is this thing going to look like once we stack, 24 of them together? Okay, so that's number 16 right there. And maybe that's more of a spectacle to get closer to than the other thing that we've created. Let me know, because maybe we'll just replace this shop and put something crazy like this right in the middle of it. So I have just recorded the outro for this episode and then realised when editing that I've forgotten to do something really important, and I'm glad that I remembered because this is going to be awesome. So we're going to whiz on down through the Nether tunnels, heading over to the desert that we had earlier in the episode, because of course I've been breeding rabbits over there, and a lot of them. And apparently there is an army of mobs awaiting me over here as I arrive. Let's go straight past all of these. Goodness me, that's a lot of creepers. Ah, there it is. There it is right there. A few rabbits have escaped in the process. You might notice the frames getting a little bit shaky. This thing's got a roof. I've had to mess around with the design several times when working on this. And I don't have any carrots with me, which is a bit of a problem. Because they're all going to go jumping crazy. Now, I had to lower the roof because they will literally jump up way too high off of one another and fall and die from fall damage. I had to make the room bigger because they were getting crushed in the corners. So when I move around, I have to kind of be careful and give them time to move about. Have you ever seen so many rabbits in one place? Okay, get out of my corner, guys. I need to get some rabbits. I need to get some carrots. So now, when I hold the carrots, it becomes a completely different story. This is just silly right here. There's way too many rabbits. Oh my goodness me. This is ridiculous. So I have been thinking that maybe it's not a bad idea to just put these in water streams and have them go around in a big circle, find a way to separate the babies, maybe send them into unloaded chunks because we've got a crazy amount of rabbits here. It's going to be easy to farm these things, but doing this was, you know, kind of slow. Had to put a lot of time into it. And now we're going to find out. Well, first of all, that created a bit of lag. We're going to find out how many rabbit's feet we get from that. Only 13. Yikes. This is a looting sword. Okay, I only hit one of them. There we go. Now we hit a whole crowd of them again. And there's still an absolute army, but we've only got 27. We've got a stack of heads. I did not expect to be getting rabbit's heads from this. And it would appear that I'm still picking up some of the XP from this. Okay, let's get them to run away from us for a moment. Okay, so I put some of the goodies away, and there are still items on the ground to be picked up. How many heads did we get here? Did we get stacks of them? No, just another 9. So we still haven't diminished their numbers greatly. This is horrendous. Oh, what did the rabbits ever do to me, hey? This is for science, people. This is for Minecraft farming. Woo! Okay, I don't think I'm going to kill... Well, God, there's still so many of them. Right. So these are our spoils, but we only got a stack and a half of rabbit's feet. And I really think this is going to need some sort of farm design because I want to get stacks of this stuff, right? To make sure the brewer runs for a long time. So yeah, we'll be back here again in the future and probably building some sort of mob farm involving these rabbits. The main thing is figuring out how to separate the babies from the adults. Now over here you can see the hitbox of a rabbit is incredibly level with the slab, which means we might need something slightly bigger, and then that gets rather problematic. Let's see if this can escape. Let's put a few of them in here. Here we go. I dropped one out by mistake. Oh, they can escape straight away. Oh, it's not good enough, is it? So the other thing that might save us here is fence posts or walls. That didn't look promising, but, you know, we got to spawn them again in there. So maybe the baby rabbits can kind of fall out of the sides of these. It's going to be really tricky to figure that one out. So far, actually, it is just the babies that are falling out, right? There might be something to that. So you can spawn a baby when you click on a rabbit, like so. So apparently they don't want to go around the corner, but anyway, this needs some proper testing. We want to find out if the rabbits will stay in this configuration, because then they'll go around in a circle because of the water streams. We can sort of sit AFK with a carrot and breed them as they come by, which will probably require something like an enchanting station, because we don't want them getting out of this, right? So you could use a gap like that or a gap like this to breed them as they go around. Then the babies will fall out down below and they're separated, and that means you can AFK farm these rabbits. Anyway, I think that will be business for our next episode. We've got to wrap this one up, and like I said, I'd already recorded the outro. So my friends, we've got a fair bit done this episode. If you enjoyed it, be sure to leave a like. I'm going to wrap this one up with a plug for my music channel, which has now got quite a few videos on it. So if you're interested in hearing some of my music reviews of records that I listen to, head over to the Xisuma music channel linked in the description box down below. Anyway, I'm going to do a little bit of grinding over here on this build. I want to get this basement ready for the next episode and come up with a roof design here. I've been struggling a little bit to find something I like. But yeah, that's it. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.